Welcome to my presentation on training for adults in the workplace. My name is Amos O, and in this video I will discuss the principles of adult learning and how to apply them in your workplace. So, how do adults learn? Well, to understand this, we must first compare adult learning with academic learning and understand that there are differences between these two approaches. Andragogy, a term commonly used for adult learning, refers to the method and teaching of adult learners. The word in ancient Greek means leader of men. It was first coined by Alexander Capp in 1833. Pedagogy, on the other hand, refers to the method and practice of teaching a subject, usually in an academic environment and to children. Literally, it means leader of child. While pedagogy is teacher-centric, formal, authority-oriented, and competitive, andragogy's approaches are quite different. Andragogy is learner-centric, informal, mutually respectful, and collaborative. Andragogy takes into consideration that adults are mature beings and prefer a more self-directed approach to learning. They are also likely to develop a more interactive relationship with the facilitator and other learners. Malcolm Knowles, an American adult educator, suggested 6 principles that can be applied to adult learning. These principles are based on the social, behavioral, and intellectual perspectives of an adult learner. They are the need to know, self-concept, experience, readiness to learn, orientation to learn, and motivation to learn. We will look at each of these principles and how to apply them. The first principle is the need to know. Adults are practical beings and don't like to spend time doing something without a reason. Likewise, in learning, they need to know why they are learning something so that the learning becomes meaningful for them. Evidence suggests that once they understand why they are learning, they will respond more positively to it. So how do we apply this principle? As a facilitator, we can provide a clear learning plan, outline the learning objectives and outcomes, clarify the importance and benefits of learning, and highlight the risks of not learning, for example, a breach of audit compliance. We can also encourage learners to create their own learning map and allow them to associate learning with its purpose. The second principle is self-concept. Adult learners like to be responsible for what they learned and have some form of control over how they learn. They want to be seen as capable of directing their own learning. They are likely to be more engaged in the learning when they have ownership and active participation in the learning process. Applying this principle means that opportunities for self-directed learning should not be missed. Many workplace training programs these days incorporate some form of self-directed learning into a facilitated program. A blended training program not only offers support and guidance, but also a self-directed approach to adult learners. Using learning management system is a good example of this approach. In addition, facilitators should be open to feedback and take into consideration the learner's views when planning the training program. The third principle is experience. Adults have a great amount of prior experience and can draw on them in their learning process. Prior experience can be a great resource to learning, which creates opportunities for sharing information and exchanging real-life examples within a learning group. On the other hand, experiences can sometimes be a barrier to learning as they can lead to bias or single-mindedness, especially if the learner already has an ingrained idea about certain subjects. In some instances, adults will have to unlearn the old in order to learn the new. Adults are more interested in learning subjects that have immediate relevance and impact to the job or personal life, which brings us to the fourth principle, readiness to learn. Adults are more ready to learn if what they're learning are timely and relevant to their situations. They are focused on the usefulness of their learning and its application. In applying this principle, we should use more relevant and timely examples in our teachings. For example, a realistic case study that shows impact and relevance that learners can relate to will generate plenty of interest and increase engagement. The fifth principle is the orientation to learn. Adults learn in order to solve a problem. They want to understand how the learning connects to their real-life experiences and be able to help them to solve a real problem. They respond more positively when the learning is contextualized to the situation. Adult learning is problem-centered rather than content-oriented. Putting this into practice means that we should make learning for adults practical, experiential, and active. Learning needs to have an application associated with the learning situations and the ability to solve real-life problems. The sixth principle is the motivation to learn. Adults are more motivated by intrinsic values rather than extrinsic rewards. Most adults value the benefits of learning such as self-confidence, high self-esteem, recognition, and personal improvement. Many successful adult learners are driven by the sense of achievement to better themselves, to improve their skills, and to be competent in their work. Evidence has suggested intrinsic values are much more effective and powerful than extrinsic rewards, creating strong, resilient, and high-performing learners. Based on this principle, facilitators should appeal to these intrinsic values as a way to engage with adult learners. It means that learning outcomes themselves can be used as an incentive for adult learners to offer personal development, improve competency, build confidence, and have a sense of achievement. Training in the workplace involves careful planning and preparation in understanding your audience. Consider creating a checklist to make sure your training incorporates these principles of adult learning. Here are some of the key tips that you can include. Create a warm and respectful environment. Make learning experiential and relevant. Keep it real and engaging. Encourage open and honest discussions. Provide support and guidance when required. That's it from me. I hope you have enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.